Ask the Messengers, the program that deals with substance abuse, real people telling real stories. Hosted by Pastor Lester Lewis, co-host Charlize Wilkerson and Leroy Carey. Where there is addiction, there is a chance for recovery. We're trying to help save lives on Ask the Messengers.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jonae Caldoun. I'm the Chief Medical Executive and Chief Deputy Director for Health in the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. I wanted to give all of you an update on what we're doing here in the department to protect all of you as it relates to COVID-19. We've been doing everything we can working with our local health departments and all of you to make sure we're identifying cases as quickly as possible and doing everything we can to protect all of you from spreading the disease. One of those things includes our state laboratory. We are now able to test anyone whose medical provider believes they need a test. If you think you may have symptoms of COVID-19 or that you may have been in close contact with someone who has COVID-19, you should talk to your medical provider and they will work with the local health department to get that test done if you need it. If you would like more information about COVID-19, you can go to our website, www.michigan.gov/coronavirus. We will be updating it regularly to make sure you have the information that you need. I'd like to thank all of you for working hard every day to protect yourselves and your families. Our team at the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services will continue to work day in and day out to protect all of you and make sure that you have the information that you need. Thank you.
In light of the stay-at-home orders that are down by our governor, we also, like other mainstream medias, have found a way to continue to share the message and continue to spread the message that recovery is still possible. In the midst of a pandemic, there is still an already existing epidemic that has not gone away, will not go away. And we're going to continue the discussion this week with Mr. Calvin Mann of ATM E. He is the founder of a mentoring program that helps families, primarily boys and men. And back with us again is our staff psychologist, Dr. Euro Hill Jr., who is also a professor at the University of Michigan, Dearborn, my alma mater as well. And his focus there is teaching addiction medicine. Yay, go blue. Welcome to the show. Blue. Welcome to the show, guys. Dr. Hill, how's things been for you since you've been on lockdown? Why do they say lockdown anyway? We're not on lockdown, people, but they like to say that, right?
Right.
How's it been, Dr. Hill?
I would say, actually, it's been great for me. It's been great. Certainly, you know, we always need to look at the terminology and the etymology of words and why they use certain things. Lockdown, quarantine, stay-at-home orders, all of these things, and they have a psychological effect on us. I say great. You know, my father, Euro Hill Sr., used to always call me every morning and say, let's do an attitude check. And we'd start the day with, he'd say, how are you? And I'd say, great, I'm doing great. And then I said, how are you, Dad? And he'd say, I'm doing great. And I was going through a tough time period, but sometimes he said, you got to fake it until you make it. He said, well, you know, if you begin, your thoughts actually affect your emotions. So as, you know, as a man thinketh and saith, so is he. So I would start off in each morning saying, I'm great. And eventually I talked myself through positive self-talk into feeling better. So that's what I had to do with this pandemic. You know, when it came, you know, on the other side of crisis is always opportunity. You know, if you look at the yin and yang of life. And so I began, you know, when it first started, I lost virtually all my clients. I'm sitting in my office and I had just opened a second office. So I had two offices. And when the stay-at-home order or the lockdown began, I virtually lost all my clients. And my first thought was, oh my God, I got 2 rents to pay and I can't even use those offices. But then I began to look. Dad used to always say, God never takes anything away without replacing it with the seed of equivalent benefit. And I thought, okay, what can we do? And I had been teaching online since 2005 and using Skype to do counseling telehealth since 2010. And I was like, I have this platform And Ring Central offered a Zoom platform for free for 2 months because of COVID-19. And I opened it up, and little by little, my clients started coming in. I lost some clients who were more older school and didn't want to use technology, but I gained a lot of new clients that
sorry, I didn't mean
That's
to
all
chime
right.
in, but that is interesting because of you teaching at universities. That was something how, like, all of a sudden campus was closed and we're all getting ready to go online now. So a lot of the students, they weren't prepared mentally. So let's talk about the psychological aspect. And Calvin, I promise I'm coming to you.
Okay.
But let's talk about the psychological aspect that it had with the students that you dealt with, not so much the clients in addiction and things. We want to also, with this pandemic on top of an already existing epidemic, let's just talk about school kids. How did the college students make that transition? Because I have kids in school, they did okay, but it affected them in somehow. And you just explain that a little bit for me. And then we go into Calvin.
Right. Sure. We've always called it bricks or clicks. Bricks or clicks. You know, I taught at Texas Southern in the Graduate School of Education, and we always had a remote learning piece that we had. So we had Blackboard is what we had, and then we have another platform at U of M Dearborn that we use as well. But ultimately, they've always had access. It's affected the K through 12 students in Detroit more than it's affected the college students. So college students, normally, they're kind of the cream of the crop academically and a lot of times socially, and they have access to a lot more resources. Mm-hmm. So that affect the college at first. For a student who's non-traditional, an older student is often a challenge. And they will, I don't know how to work this, or I don't know how to do this. But for the average college student, 18 to 22, they grew up with technology and they adapted really quickly. A lot of them like it more because I'm teaching at U of M Dearborn. Whenever there was a snowstorm, I remember having an exam during a snowstorm. Right. And I said, well, I'm going to have to give the exam online. They were like, great, we can use our books.
Right, exactly.
So we can use our books, right?
Right.
So when you have access to technology, it's great. I think it wasn't so difficult at U of M Dearborn. It's not necessarily online education as it is remote learning. Right. So you still have the same class time, but as a professor, you're just online. And we did a lot at U of M Dearborn to prepare the students, to give them time, and they went right into it. Okay. But, just to close out, for K through 12, we have poor students in Detroit, many who not only didn't have computers, but didn't have connectivity. Mm-hmm. So it really hit them hard. And I have teachers who are my clients who one teacher has 22 students and only 2 are online right now.
Wow.
And so the Skillman Foundation in Detroit came up with $23 million along with another couple of foundations. And it won't happen until June, which will be after the school year. But 50,000 computers have been purchased for the Detroit public schools. So the technology gap, economics have a lot more to do with it than anything else. The technology gap is being closed for us students.
I got you. So Dr. Hill just mentioned a very key point. And I have grandchildren, and I do live in a neighborhood where there is an elementary school. So Calvin, or if I can call you by your first name, I'm sorry. Let's go into what you do. And how has that, what he mentioned, it affected the academics, the elementary, the K through 12. So what are you seeing in your program? Because you deal with families. How has COVID-19 affected what you do?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me, you and Dr. Hill. It has not, what it did was it slowed our physical part of our program. But getting online, we're still in contact with our mentees. We even did a little mentee town hall with them, right? And our mentees are flying. So what we teach, and when we're teaching servant leadership to our boys are not standstill boys. Our boys have to go, right? And we challenge each young man to take on leadership in his home, school, right? And navigate that through the tools that we give them. Mm-hmm. And so our kids are cooking, pouring cement, looking up frequencies for, the different news stations. They have to send in videos. They're being very creative. We have 2 young men who started their own YouTube, right? And we're pushing them, and we teach our boys at ME Future Leaders, right, not to wait. The fatherhood component is what we use fathers to do the mentoring, because we know the essence of a father is very, very powerful. Society has forgotten that. And so we make sure that our fathers who mentor is applying, right, the ingredients that they have for their own children. So it's been, for us, it's been, that's been the challenge. You know, I get the calls where kids are not communicating with their dads or whatever, and so I give them some things on how to approach and communicate with their fathers. And so it's been for us, it's just been an adjustment.
Okay.
And you know, and for the kids, you know, most of these kids, we deal with the kids 8 to 14 in prevention. Most of the children, you know, they're already savvy with computers, and you know what I mean. And so that's been an adjustment for a few kids who didn't have the same economic status as some of our kids. We pull kids from 4 different counties come into the city for our mentoring program. So we kind of understand that there's some different economic levels there for each child.
Okay.
And it's working. And they have to call each other and communicate. So each kid's got a peer partner, and things have been pretty good. We stay in touch with the parents, and we get the feedback, and it's constantly going.
Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the things that, so like in the news, there's this thing they said that domestic violence has increased, child abuse has increased, alcoholism has increased because the liquor stores are still open, right? So are the crack houses. So those things still exist, but in mainstream media, they're not talking about it. So Ask the Messengers is here to talk about it and keep it on the forefront, because as they continue to just pile new stuff on top, then all those things that we deal with in our communities will just get way down. And then it's you guys that's keeping it afloat. So we're going to come back and talk about some of the things that maybe you've heard of, or some of the stories or clients that you deal with that deal with the substance, the addiction, the abuse in the homes. And let's share a message on what people who will hear this and see this, what they can do to continue to formulate a happy household. Okay? So this is Tina Nelson for Ask the Messengers TV show, and we will be right back.
If you or someone you know is battling with any type of cancer, you need to read the book by Laverne Moore Slaughter, God Encounters Are Real. In her book, she tells how through prayer and faith, God healed her and set her free from stomach cancer. For more information and to get your copy, visit www.encountersarereal.net.
I'm Artesia Washington, and I'd like to welcome you to Irvine Head Injury, where restoring you to your previous level of functioning is our goal. We offer services such as physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language pathology, aquatic therapy, massage therapy, and counseling. An automobile accident is an unfortunate event. If you feel that you or a loved one can benefit from our services, you can be reached at 248-415-2500. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is an important message from the Wayne County Treasurer, Eric Sabri.
Currently, the Wayne County Treasurer's Office is closed to the public. This decision was made in order to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus. We are in total agreement with the Governor's emergency declaration and the efforts of Wayne County leadership to protect the health and safety of our employees and the taxpayers who visit our office. Given the emergency declaration, we have suspended foreclosure activity for the 2020 calendar year. If you have delinquent taxes, they still must be paid. Taxpayers are encouraged to make tax payments by paying online at one of the 70 DivDat kiosks located throughout the county, through the U.S. mail or mobile app. For more information and updates, please visit the Wayne County Treasurer's website at treasurer.waynecounty.com or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We are all in this together, and we don't know how long this emergency situation will last. I appreciate your patience and cooperation.
Changing an addict's life and providing support to the addict's family is the goal of the Live Right Structured Recovery Corp. Live Right offers art recovery, yoga, spiritual recovery classes, Naranon, automotive maintenance, and refuge recovery. Live Right also welcomes the LBGT community. Through Live Right's Driving Toward the Life of Success program, donated cars, trucks, boats, and campers are 100% deductible, so you'll get the most out of your vehicle, running or not. For more information and a complete list of their events, go to their website at liverightstructurecorp.com or call 586-217-5899. Life short, live right.
Are you struggling with an addiction to drugs and alcohol? Are you torn with which way to go to get better? Look no further. Pure Recovery Substance Treatment Centers are here to help. Pure Recovery offers non-judgmental support for men who are finding their way to recovery. With several locations within Wayne County, one of them could be just right for you. Contact Pure Recovery today through the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network's 24-hour helpline, 800-241-4949.
So we're back. Welcome back to the show. Again, we have Calvin Mann of ATM, which is a mentoring program geared for the betterment of men and boys and to make a stronger community. And our show psychologist, Dr. Earl Hill, who is also a professor at University of Michigan dealing with addiction medicine. So the topic that we are focusing on right now is the pandemic on top of an existing epidemic. And Calvin, I know that you work with school-age children, young men, young adult men and children. So let's talk about, there's been a rise, according to the media, mainstream media, there's been a rise of addiction and abuse in the home. Have you experienced that with your clients? And if so, how have you been able to counteract that since you can't physically go to the homes right now?
Well, we did have an episode where in our mentoring program, we had the one father. So I explained to him that some of the parents were concerned about the odor that he was bringing in through alcoholism. Well, since then, he's gotten some help. He shifted, and the relationship between he and his father, the young man and his father, has gotten better, right? As far as knowing who is being abused or not, my only point to that is, can you imagine how many cases we don't know about with this? I was having a conversation around this, and it's really important for us to understand that no one should be putting their hands on anybody. And we have to be careful of the triggers, and especially around the stress. There are a number of areas around that. I'll let you guys have that, but we haven't had really any serious calls other than a young man wanting to see his father.
Okay.
That, we haven't really had that, but we get the information. I do get the inboxes where men are really, especially over child support and not seeing their kids. That's a big issue for a lot of fathers. And, our organization, Good Fathers Only, we try to resource that up.
But Dr. Hill, now we heard what he just said, but isn't that something that's always been the case even before this? Like I said, the pandemic on top of an already existing epidemic, that's stuff that's always happened anyway. Is that correct?
Yes, there's been and I know when you say pandemic on top of epidemic, you mean the epidemic of alcoholism and drug abuse. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, it's always happened. The human condition is difficult, and when you have people that have had trauma or have been abused and neglected as children, then they come up with habits that they take into their adult life, like abuse, like violence. It happens as a child. I have a nonprofit called Hotep Christian Services, and it stands for Healing Ourselves Through Excellence and Preparation. And we know that as African Americans, we have a higher amount, actually, sometimes of trauma and frustration. So we need to heal ourselves. And so we do that through clinical therapy and through spirituality. God always allows for U-turns. So, and when you have a pandemic on top of it and a stay-at-home order, then often the ways out for people are fewer. People are locked up and have to stay in the house, and they may not have another place to go. And so they feel as if there's no place to go, where in actuality, there are places, there are safe houses for women. The children, CPS is still working, Child Protective Services. I used to be a delinquency services worker for the state of Michigan for Children and Family Services. And that's what we dealt with. Kids who came up through CPS, then through foster care, and then they ended up many with the loss of parental responsibility in delinquency services after the kids started committing crimes because of the abuse and neglect that they had felt as children. So we always look at that whole, the beginning of the trauma that happens as a child, and then you get this adult who's self-medicating. Addiction is caused because of pain, physical or emotional pain. And so people are seeking ways to fill a spot inside that they cannot fill with anything else. So they drink, they act out, anger management, everybody gets angry. Fight and flight is just what the human condition has. And we get the adrenaline rush and all of that. So everybody gets angry.
Right.
Some people respond with aggression and some people respond with assertion. The difference is how you were raised and what you experienced as a kid and in society.
We'll be right back with more of Ask the Messengers.
A new law, Public Act 33, was recently enacted, which will help low-income taxpayers avoid property tax foreclosure. This law is referred to as Pay-As-You-Stay, or PAYS. It will allow those who are exempt from property taxes due to low income the ability to remove interest, penalties, and fees from their delinquent taxes and to pay their balance over a 3-year period. Even though our office is currently closed to the public, taxpayers who qualify will be contacted by my office. Their payment plans will be processed through the mail and with the assistance from our nonprofit partners. Please visit us at treasurer.waynecounty.com or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com for more information. And remember, we're here to help.
Are you struggling with an addiction to drugs and alcohol? Are you torn with which way to go to get better? Look no further. Pure Recovery Substance Treatment Centers are here to help. Pure Recovery offers non-judgmental support for men who are finding their way to recovery. With several locations within Wayne County, one of them could be just right for you. Contact Pure Recovery today through the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network's 24-hour helpline, 800-241-4949.
If you or someone you know is battling with any type of cancer, you need to read the book by Laverne Moore Slaughter, God Encounters Are Real. In her book, she tells how through prayer and faith, God healed her and set her free from stomach cancer. For more information and to get your copy, visit www.encountersarereal.net.
There are many reasons for teens to wait until they're 21 to drink.
When you drink, you cannot play sports, and if you drink, it can mess up your career.
Drinking can cause brain damage.
Alcohol is bad because you can forget things. Drinking alcohol makes teens do bad in school.
Be smart.
Be a leader. Don't drink.
So, Mr. Calvin, final thoughts? Any final thoughts? Any words of encouragement? The floor is open for you to take us on out. And then we'll come back to Dr. Hill. But what are your final thoughts on this subject?
My final thoughts is we have to change the narrative around fatherhood and how important fathers are to families. We have to understand the value that he brings and reteach the value to men and understanding how important that is. My encouraging message would be respecting yourself is remaining faithful to your ideas and your hopes and your dreams. The only way that we can accomplish any of the things that we do is we have to put one foot in front of the other and begin to execute whatever that vision and dream is outside of the wrong things.
That's great. And Dr. Hill, you were going to talk about HALT. Can you close us out with what HALT is and what it means? You got 1 minute to do it.
Sure. HALT, I want to tell the recovery community that you were built for this time. You were built with the 12 steps. So you were built with ways in which to overcome the challenges that we see. HALT is the acronym that we use in the recovery community that warns us not to allow yourself to get too hungry, too angry, too lonely, or too tired. Those are the warning signs that you're about to relapse. So you want to not only hungry physically, but hungry for connectedness. You need to connect with people one way or the other. Angry, you know, you want to cut down on fried foods. You want to use some stress reduction principles. You want to get outside. You want to do a run, cut the lawn, do something, do some gardening. Give yourself a break. Lonely, again, connect. Even with a mask on, now you can go out to the parks, go out to Belle Isle, go out and do something. But connect with people and animals and other things. And then the last one, lonely and tired. Get your sleep. Take care of yourself. Eat well and get your sleep. And again, you guys were built for this. Our community was built for this. So just stick with your principles. The 12 steps are freedom. The serenity prayer was made for this time right here. You cannot control certain things. Yeah. So God grant us the serenity.
To accept the things I cannot change. The courage to change the things that I can. And the wisdom to know the difference.
Here at Ask the Messengers, we like to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of Eric Olive. Eric Olive had some mental challenges and struggled with a lot of mental issues and recently committed suicide. Our prayers go out to the Olive family. And Eric was on our show. He gave a message to his mom, and we're going to show that right now.
Raising another human being is not an easy task for any one person. And life, especially bringing life into this world and being a mother, that's a very difficult task in itself that really us men will never fully understand.
Eric Olive, you're gone, but never forgotten.
Won't you help us to do exactly what our motto is, and that is to help save lives? Won't you send a generous donation to the information there on the screen? We would love to have you as part of our partnership to help save lives. You may not be able to go out in the street, you may not be able to come here to the show, but you can send your donation that helps us save lives.